Russell's little sister, Quincy Russell's aunt. I wanted to come here today, very honored to come here today, and talk to you about Quincy's last days here with us. We just want to thank the community because you guys were so great to us, and there's really no way we can thank you for all the things that you did for us. So one little way we can do this is to tell you about Quincy and his story. It was this time last year when Quincy's disease really took hold. I was here waiting for them to come back into town. They had been gone for about a month and a half of inpatient days. He loved relay. It's one of his favorite times of year, and he always, as a lot of you probably remember, enjoyed the cakewalk. He would never leave the cakewalk. He would just stay. My sister would be surrounded by cakes all the time. She'd end up giving cakes away to people. He wanted to be here last year, and he would have gotten his 5-year survivor medal that year. They got into town late, and he had a fever when they got here, which was never a good sign. My sister came, she got his medal, and we went back to her house, and that was the first time I saw the wound on his back. It was a new thing we'd never had before, we'd never seen before, and it looked just like a bug bite. Wasn't something that we thought was serious, but by that late evening, he had a really high fever, and they headed back to St. Jude. They ended up being inpatient there for a while. It wasn't until about middle July that I actually saw his wound again, and I'm a nurse, so to see the wound that went from being about the size of a bug bite to about 6 inches in length was so overwhelming to me because I knew what that meant. I understood that there was no way to treat his disease and the wound at the same time, and I understood that it was the beginning of the end for Quincy. It was very scary. You don't know what to say to your sister. She's like the other half of my soul, and I wanted to tell her. I wanted to say, you know, get ready, here it comes, but I realized that deep down in her soul, she already knew. It was my plan to be Quincy's advocate, and with help of the doctors at St. Jude, we brought Quincy home, which was his one and only wish. He wanted to be home. He wanted to play video games. He wanted to be with his dogs. He wanted to be with his family. So Quincy came home in August on hospice. And my initial reaction really to him being on hospice was anger. I was very mad. I couldn't understand why my sister's worst nightmare was coming true, why my niece Melody had to grow up so fast by watching her little brother be so sick. It was really hard to watch. It was devastating. It all came to a head for us on August the 25th. It was near the end for Quincy. My sister sent me a text message and said his hemoglobin, his blood count is 4, and he's very tired. And I knew then how close it was. And I remember calling my best friend Shannon and saying, I'm not ready for this. And she said, in the only way that she can, suck it up. Suck it up and go. You need to be with your sister. You need to be with your family. So I did. I went, and I stood outside her door for a minute, caught my breath, pulled it together. And I remember opening the door, and he was laying on the couch, and I thought he had already gone. He was so pale and so still. And my sister was in the floor with him. My niece was in the floor. And Linton said, come on, it's okay. Just come on. He'll know you're here. And I sat in the floor beside him. And I told him how much I loved him and how much he meant to us, the family. And to our surprise, he woke up. He woke up and he was happy. And he smiled. And he said, I want some Lucky Charms. So we poured him a big bowl of Lucky Charms. We played him music. He had this favorite song from the cartoon Up. It was an opera song from Carmen. And he sat there with his eyes shut and moved his fingers to the music and loved every second of it. And it was a beautiful moment. And he decided it was time to lay down, go to bed. And we carried him to his bed. He looked at me and he said, Sissy, are you going home? And I said, no, Quincy, I'm going to stay here with you. I'm going to stay all night with you. And he said, good. Will you stay and listen to me say my prayers? And I said, absolutely, Quincy, absolutely. My sister was laying beside him, and he folded his hands together, and he shut his eyes, and he said, dear God, please help me to feel better. Please help me to feel better tomorrow, and please help me to love people like you do. And in that moment, I thought, I can't be mad about this. Not anymore. Quincy had every reason in the world to be angry, to just be mad, because he had not had a chance to live. And here he was, dying, slowly and painfully, scary to all of us, but he was happy. He was so happy, and he was so content, and he didn't want us to be sad either. And he reminded us of a very special Bible verse. It's Philippians 4, verses 4 through 9. And I'm going to read those to you now. Rejoice in the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer, by petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to the Lord. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely and admirable, if anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think of such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard of me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you always. Quincy was to me the picture of peace that transcends understanding. Even though he was sick pretty much his entire life, he lived every day, and he was happy about it. He never let his circumstances get him down. He was grateful, and he still loved God. He still loved God, and he aspired to be a good person every day. It amazes me and inspires me every single time I think about it. I think that Quincy would want all of us to learn from what he went through. He would want us to know it's not about the storm that rages around you, it's about how you weather that storm. So whether you have cancer or you love somebody who does, just remember Quincy Russell and let his faith guide you through your storm. Thank you.